Hey YouTube, Jumpmaster RC coming at you today with a bench video. So for those of you that watched my last bash video, you'll notice that I did break the wing mount on the Kraton 6S V5. So it actually snapped right here. So we still have the bolts inside the rear shock tower. So in order to fix this, we're actually going to remove the rear shock tower, and ordinarily we would just remove it, take the bolts that are still in the bulkhead, remove them that way, and we will still do that. However, today the Kraton is getting rear and front M2C shock tower upgrades. I've had these products here for a little while, and it's time to go ahead and put them on. It's quite an exciting day. So the parts that we'll be using for today's repairs and upgrades are the M2C rear shock tower brace. There's the part number for you. We'll also be using the M2C 3400 rear shock tower, and we'll be replacing the front shock tower as well. So quite a big video today. We'll also be using, to replace the stock wing mounts, we will be replacing these with RPM wing mounts that have been soaked in WD-40. For those of you that would like information on why they've been soaked in WD-40, make sure that you check out this video here. And so with that being said, this should be a pretty straightforward, easy to do swap. One of the things that we will have to do, and I'll also be making this improvement as well, is we will have to take the body mounts off and swap those over. No big deal. But one thing you'll notice is that I have had the Proline thumb washer body mount kit. I've stripped those out, and so what we'll be doing is we'll be replacing these posts. We'll be going back to the standard body clip style until I'm happy with the fact that I'm not going to rip these body mounts out anymore, these thumb washer body mounts out anymore. I do have the replacement ones for that. I'll show you the part numbers for that, as well as the part numbers for the replacement posts. So again, big time upgrades today, M2C upgrades, wing mount upgrade, a lot of stuff coming your way. So with that said, let's go ahead and get the modification started. All right, so the first thing that you'll notice is that we've got a couple of screws that we need to undo. So the first thing you'll need to undo is this screw right here, which is to the turnbuckle retainer, and you'll need to undo this screw right here, which is also the turnbuckle retainer. Below that, there are two screws that go into the bulkhead. You'll need to remove those, as well as the shock tower mounts. So basically you want to remove the shocks from the shock tower. I'm going to go ahead and remove the tires, both front and rear, so that I can work on this and really just kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, dog bone. No big deal, that can go back in. Now that the shock standoffs are removed, now we're going to go in right here. Well, I got to remove this other turnbuckle right here. And then these two bolts that are holding it to the bulkhead. There are still, the pins are still in right here. The bolts that were sheared off. So what I'm trying to do is separate that from there without stripping them from the bulkhead, which is plastic. And then once that's free, I'll be able to go ahead and remove the remaining portion of the wing mount, but then also the portion of the bolt that is embedded in the bulkhead. There it is. It is out. These will be removed and put onto the M2C shock tower. So what we have remaining is this right here, which is where the screws are. I'm just going to take this. I could use vice grips if I wanted to, but and gently back this out. I don't want to pull this out of the bulkhead. If I strip it out, I'll have to replace the whole thing. So take your time. Don't pull too hard. I shouldn't need those anymore. Alright, don't forget the nuts from the old ones. And pull that out. There's our broken parts. Okay. So don't forget, we are removing the body mount retainer posts. So that's what I'm calling them for now. From the old shock tower. I'm just going to do a 1-for-1 swap. And there it is. Okay, DeWalt, Milwaukee. If you guys got a cordless screwdriver you want me to review, could really use it right about now. Also, guys, as I mentioned, I'll be pulling this out. Well, I'll probably just save this, but I'm going to put a new one in. We're going back to the body clip style until I can quit landing on my roof. Alright, here it is. M2C 3400 Arrma Kraton rear EXB shock tower brace. Here we go. This is an exciting moment, folks. Look at that difference there. Look at that. So it makes sense that this would be on the outside, and this should just match up directly right there. And it does. Those are going to go in there. Looks like those will go the other way around. Those will go there. Beautiful. So these are going to go right here. And actually, we can go ahead and do that now. Again, you don't want to over tighten these, just get them nice and snug. You don't want to strip these out, or should be replacing them. I do have replacements, but I'd rather not use them if I don't have to. Sometimes, folks, it helps to figure out what you're doing before you go do it. I have these on backwards. Feels stupid, but you know what? That's okay. We're going to flip those around and get back to it. Alright guys, so what I've done now is I've lined up the bolts with the bottom of the chassis brace. I have attached the body mount post retainers to the other side, and I'm just going to go ahead and tighten these down. I'm not tightening these super tight. This is just mostly just a mock-up initially. Once I get everything together, I will go ahead and tighten everything down the way it should be. I want to leave some kind of, a little bit of play in there, so that as I'm getting all of the components together and put on, we don't have any problems. So that's barely hand tight. Okay. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and re-secure the shocks to the shock towers. And if we're going exactly the way we were before, then we'll attach it to the upper hole. Alright, so what you'll notice is that I did go ahead and reinsert the dog bone. It is kind of loose, and then so I will be reattaching the rod end of the turnbuckle to the mount in one of these 4 positions. So looking at the previous mount, it looks like the turnbuckles were mounted to the lower interior, and so I will be mounting the turnbuckles along with the washer and nut to the lower interior of the 4 holes that you can see right here. So it's going to go bolt through here, through the pivot ball, followed by a washer, followed by the bolt. Alright, so at this point we're going to go ahead and tighten everything down. You did notice there are some things that are a little bit loose. So anything that's loose, you want to go ahead and tighten down. Looks like the retainer pin on my was a little bit loose. All right. So at this point, we have replaced, folks, we now have a rear shock tower. Look at this. It's phenomenal. I'm excited. That is a rear shock tower replacement. M2C, major beefcake upgrade. What's coming up next is the shock tower brace and the wing mount. So at this point, guys, we're going to go ahead and install the rear shock tower brace. One thing you'll notice is that it does come with some bolts, some nuts, a drill bit. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and mock this up before you do any drilling. So you'll want to go ahead and install this. This does take the place of the spacers. I previously had the EXP spacers in there. This will take the place, and they are clearly marked passenger and driver side. So you'll know how to mock this up. And once you get it set up from there, well, just watch. All right, so what I've done is I've done a mock-up of the shock tower brace, and I've went ahead and installed the one. So what you want to do is, as you put these on, you obviously don't want to pre-drill beforehand, or else it might not line itself up. So what you want to do is go ahead, get it lined up. And what I did is I'm sure there are better ways to do this, but what I've done is went ahead and just moved the body brace here, whatever you want to call it, off to the side. And then I've taken the provided drill bit, and basically I'm going through the center here and just drilling straight through. Now I do want to mention that it is difficult. You do have to put a lot of pressure on there. It is thick aluminum. And so you may want to use a little bit of cutting oil or some type of oil in order to keep your drill bit from heating up too much. Shouldn't be too terribly big of a problem. Again, I just put it a little bit of pressure on it and went from there. Obviously, we'll want to get all of that cleaned up, but you'll take the supplied nut and bolt, place the bolt through, take your 2.5mm hex wrench and secure the tower brace to the rear shock tower. All right, and at this point we have installed the shock tower brace. And you'll also notice that in order to do that, I did remove the tower-to-tower brace. The theory is that with the tower brace, any impact will go from the shock tower through the tower brace to the chassis brace and zero out through the chassis. Now, I have not upgraded to the M2C chassis. This is the stock steel chassis, or stock aluminum chassis rather. However, I do have the M2C chassis, and once I bend this, maybe sooner, I'll make the upgrade. So with that being said, we're going to move right into the wing mount. So again, you'll notice that I did secure the wing mount to the outside here. And at this point, you take the wheelie bar, and place it in between the mount, like so. And you'll need to use the wing mounts from your previous stock kit. The way that it was set up before, we're going to set it up again. And so we'll just go ahead and with a 2mm, so again, it's this brace right here, along with the actual mounting block for the wing. I've just combined the two together, and I'll be placing that into the holes that are there, loosely securing it in place. Again, don't want to tighten it down too early. You might have to make some modifications. We'll do all of that tightening down at the end. We'll take the components from before, set them on top like so. Make sure that they line up, and they do. And the front shock tower is M2C 3401 Kraton front shock EXB shock tower brace. This should in theory go on very similar to the way that the rear one did. If things are as I believe they are, it should be a matter of removing the shock from the shock tower and then unscrewing approximately an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws or bolts, however you want to call them, and then reinstalling this, in theory anyway. So at this point we are going to remove the shocks from the shock tower. Once those 6 are removed, I should be able to pop that right off and drop the other one in. So mine look particularly dirty. You'll see a bash video coming up pretty soon and understand why. That was one heck of a bash, I'll tell you what. Honestly, I thought I did some serious damage. Bada boom, bada bing. What you know good. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 of which are your shock mounts. That's it. Simple and easy. We're going to match it up here. Bada boom, bada bing. Alright, so you'll want to take the front shock tower and place it with the smooth side in towards the center of the vehicle. And place your screws right back where you took them out of. Again, do not tighten too much too soon. You'll want to do that at the end. Guys, this is going to do a lot for me. You know, one of the reasons that I haven't been taking it full send is because I've had these upgrades, right? But it's like, I don't know, until I had them done, like, I was a little bit nervous about sending this thing like the way some of these other guys do. So I'm actually going to use the very bottom hole today. One of the things that I've noticed is that it is a little bit more difficult to put the Kraton's body on when it is down further than this. Difficult part here is just getting it lined up. There we go. There we go. If you have a body protection modification like so, route it back over the front. Again, if you need information on where to get this body modification or how this body modification was designed, why it was designed the way that it was, there's actually an update to that design. Make sure you check out East Tactics. I will link to the video here and also down below in the description. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment down below, share the video with your friends and family if you found it helpful. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future. Jumpmaster RC, out.